I'm Matt with Meat Church in the Traeger kitchen. Let's make one of my favorite, Texas Twinkies. That's an Easter basket. There's nothing more Texan than a Texas Twinkie. What is it? Well, it's a whole jalapeno cored out and stuffed with cream cheese and brisket, wrapped in bacon, seasoned and smoked on the Traeger, and it's delicious. My friends at Hutchins Barbecue in Dallas, a couple locations, they invented these and were gracious enough to teach me these years ago. And we're gonna end up removing the guts, the veins, the seeds, etc. And so usually they're not that hot. You never know with a jalapeno, you could catch a hot one every now and then, but even people that don't really like hot food generally enjoy these. And depending on the size of the jalapeno you get, they can be a freaking meal. Let's jump in. First things we need to do is, I mentioned it was stuffed with cream cheese. So we've got just one block of cream cheese here that we're gonna open up. And you could stuff these with plain cream cheese if you want, but honestly, one of my most favorite things in the world to smoke is cream cheese. And so to be able to add that element, smoke element to cream cheese, if you've done it, you know. If you haven't, boy, it's a game changer. One of my, I'm just gonna say top tailgate snacks, anytime that I can smoke it, it just, like I said already, adds just an amazing element to it. I'm gonna use one of my all-purpose seasonings, Holy Gospel. You can use anything you want. I prefer a sweeter type seasoning when it comes to cream cheese, but if you're a Meat Church person, Voodoo, Texas Sugar, Honey Hog, all great, but just kind of use whatever you like. And then usually I will season all sides. Let's just go ahead and throw it in the Traeger. So I'm running 275 degrees today because that's what we're gonna cook the Twinkies at. When it comes to smoking cream cheese, you've got a lot of latitude. You can do 200, 225, all the way up to 275. It's not gonna hurt it. Just watch it. And I usually let it go for, hour and a half, 2 hours, just whatever you like. So let's just throw this in the Traeger. And let's get in to the peppers. So I would get the biggest jalapenos you can find. They're just easier to stuff when you do that. And these are about as big as you're gonna find, to be honest with you. So get as big as you can. And then I've got a paring knife here, and I'm gonna basically cut a T in these. So I'm not cutting the top off, but I'm just cutting a slit here. And then again, make a little T all the way down to the bottom to try to open this up. So I'm gonna do that with all 4 of these real quick. Then what we want to do is we want to open these up and try to do this without busting the pepper open. Basically remove most of the guts. So often I'll just use the back of a spoon. There's a lot of little tools to do this if you want to mess with that, but I'm just going to get in here and run the spoon underneath the veins to try to separate it away from the pepper and remove it. If you're a masochist and you're into heat, you can leave all this in here if you want. But the more you leave in, the less room you have for stuffing. So I would take it out personally. And the difference in these and jalapeno poppers, jalapeno popper is half of a jalapeno. A Texas Twinkie is an entire jalapeno. So you're getting a lot more jalapeno, and you can potentially get a lot more heat. So it's honestly safest in this case to just go ahead and get it out of here. But that's a preference thing, whatever you like. You can kind of see on my board here, that's everything that I've removed from it. And inside the pepper, it's pretty clean. Okay, go ahead and do that with the rest of these.
Matt, how many Texas Twinkies do you think you've made over the course of your life?
How many Texas Twinkies have I made? A lot. They're definitely in the thousands. If we're gonna make these in volume, I get an army of friends or employees to come over. I don't tell them what we're doing. I just get a bunch of beer, and when they show up, I say, all right, get to work. Okay, let's set these aside, and let's work on our filling. So we've got some brisket here. This is a leftover brisket point. For a block of cream cheese, you need about a cup of brisket, but honestly, you don't have to be too precise with this. Just kind of use however much or little you want. So I'm just gonna get a cleaver. And this brisket is cold. It's leftover brisket. It's a great use for leftover brisket. I often hear people say, well, like, who has leftover brisket? Well, if you're smart and prepare ahead, you always have a little brisket on hand. was probably more than a cup of brisket, but I've never heard anybody complain about too much brisket, so here we go. All right, I've got my brisket ready. I've got some cream cheese that's smoked already. Before we get in the Traeger, let me grab a tray. And this is a little tip that will help you when you compile these peppers that we are about to put together. You can stuff peppers raw like this, but if you put them in the Traeger for 15, 20 minutes, you'll kind of soften them up. That makes them a little easier to deal with. So I've got a dozen here. We're gonna line out on this tray. All right, in we go. We've got some that have been in for 20 minutes. And I've also got some cream cheese that we've smoked. All right, in with our smoked cream cheese we go. All right, you're just gonna mix it up. Perfect. All right, let's make a little bag here to pipe this in with. You certainly can stuff these peppers with a spoon, a piping bag. I'm a simple man. We're just gonna use my Redneck version of a piping bag here. I always say, use what you got. And I'll just put it down in the corner. So you see this pepper that came out of the Traeger, it's just nice and soft, just a lot easier to deal with, to be honest with you. So I'm gonna pipe this in, all 12 of these, and then we'll move on to the next step. You wanna make sure you don't overstuff them. You've gotta keep in mind that you want to close this up, and then we're gonna be wrapping it in bacon in the next step. These are some big old Texas-sized jalapenos. I wasn't aware that you could find these in Utah, so this makes me happy. All right, peppers are stuffed. Let's move on to the next step, my favorite. We're gonna wrap these in bacon. I like standard cut bacon. Some people like thick cut. And depending on the size of your jalapeno, you may need 2 slices. It's kind of up to you. I try to get these done with 1 if possible. Just like so. I like to cover the top of the slit, hold the bacon tight, and kind of stretch it as best you can. All right, we've got the last one wrapped. So now let's season them. I'm just gonna use the same seasoning. I love an all-purpose seasoning on these, and I like to actually season pretty heavily on all sides. Then we're gonna put them back on that same wire rack that we softened the jalapenos on, and we're gonna move on to cooking. All right, back onto this wire rack. All right, let's talk about cooking these. This is very simple. Basically what we're gonna do, we're gonna go into the Traeger, 275 degrees, and I'm just cooking them until the bacon looks right, which is generally about an hour and a half. That depends on the thickness of your bacon, basically. And as far as cooking pellets go, we're talking a Southwestern dish here, or appetizer, and so I want a Southwestern flavor, so a mesquite or a hickory are kind of my favorite. So let's get these in the Traeger. Unfortunately, for time's sake, I've got some that are already cooked. I don't know if you could hear, but the fat dripping down in this pan, these suckers are sizzling, so they're definitely very hot. But you can see how beautiful these are. The bacon looks amazing on this. Looks just, you know, the color from the Holy Gospel on the bacon is really nice. And you don't have to cook the bacon until it's crispy. You just want the bacon done. I don't like to take them too far, so this is perfect for me. Well, we've let them cool off. I'm gonna put them in a little basket here and then try them out. I mean, look at that. I'm telling you, that one's a meal. We may hang on to that one. Look at that right there. Whew. That's an Easter basket. Time to get serious. This sucker's like half a pound. I'm just gonna cut it open here so we can see what it looks like. Whew. Look at that. Jalapeno, smoked cream cheese, brisket, wrapped in bacon, seasoned with Holy Gospel, smoked on the Traeger. If that ain't right, I don't know what is. All right, I'm not reaching for my beer, proving to you that it's not that spicy. That's still crunched, not quite like an apple, but I'd call that the perfect bite right there. That is delicious. This is your appetizer that you need to make with every barbecue that you do, and people will love these. I'm telling you, that's amazing. Fun to make, easy to cook, can't screw it up, not that expensive. Definitely got a smoked cream cheese. Anyway, highly recommend you guys making these. The recipe for these beauties will be down below the video in the description. We've also got it on Traeger.com. But while you're here on YouTube, be sure you like and subscribe because we're bringing you these new recipe videos each and every week. With that said, I'm gonna finish this off and I'll see you next time. Damn good.